Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have a first-time guest on the Awakened Soul, somebody I've been following for a minute. I've been waiting to get on the podcast. She's amazing. You guys are going to love her. I guarantee you're going to love her. We have Miss Vivi from the Not Perfect Just Broke podcast. What's going on, ma'am?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to your show.
Anytime. Yeah, you know, you're somebody that I've been interacting with for a while. Listen to your stuff. You've been doing great. I'm loving the new season thus far. And you're just taking it to new levels, and I'm happy. I'm happy for you. You seem like you're in a really that creative place that we all hit eventually, where we know exactly what we want to do. So it makes it easier to execute, and it's beautiful to see when people get to that place.
Yes, I'm so happy to get to that point, because before everything felt like, what should I talk about? And then you're just trying to follow the trends and everything. But then you realize everyone's talking about it. So how come I just don't make myself distinctive and speak about things that are specific?
Exactly. So we are here for the finale, and volume 3 of the Creative Mind series. And so when I first put this idea out here, I'm glad that I was able to record with all 3 people that I wanted to do this series with, first of all. But I knew I was going to finish with you because, like I said, I've been waiting to get in touch with you. But I also, as a creative, right, you see people who are very similar in, the way that they attack, and you approach this in a very business-like mind, and I respect that above all. The content has always been great, but, the way that you present your product, the way that you present yourself as a host, how you mix in being fun with also being insightful, that's that area that not a lot of people are able to get with their social media and their platforms. And when I can say, I said this thing on the last one, I hate people, not real hate, but that are just naturally entertaining, because it took me years of doing this to learn to be entertaining, and you just seem to have that naturally. So I appreciate being able to watch you grow as a creative.
Thank you. I'm definitely that type of person where it's less script works for me, because when it's just I'm doing 100% script, you can smell it. You can listen to it and just be like, oh my gosh, she sounds like a gentrifier. But then it's once it's off script, they just be like, dang, she fucking funny. And I'm like, yes. Ooh, can I curse here?
Yeah. Come on now. Yes.
Okay. I had to make sure. You did say that you're in Disney, so I had to make sure.
Oh my God. Listen, I was worried about that too. It was one of the first things I brought up. I was like, all right, now you guys have heard my podcast, right? Because I don't want none of this when they caught off guard for, and they're like, no, we're fine. It's all XYZ. And I've been waiting. I've been on that Disney contract for almost a year. It'll be a year in March where it's time to renew or not. But I was definitely worried that I was going to start getting editor's notes hey, you said fuck here in 2 minutes in. Can you please cut that down? Or can you or blurp it out? Not gonna happen. I'm never gonna water down my product for anybody. So
that's good. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. It's a fucking headache. I'm not even gonna lie. But thank you. We're all gonna get there eventually. But so this Creative Mind series is all about getting into your creative mind and getting into your business a little bit, just a tad, but more so your creative process. So the first question that we have, and the most important one really, because this sets the tone: who is Vivi?
This sounds like a philosophical question. Who am I? Well, I can say that I'm an idiosyncratic, quirky type of individual. I'm someone that thinks of life as kind of this thing where I'm able to complete things. I find that when people think of life, they think of life as, oh, just do whatever happens. Me, I feel like there's some type of control that happens. So I'm very much that person where it's I'm goal oriented. I'm very much a person where it's I'm strategic, where it's this equals to this one. And I'm very much a person that feels like I deserve greatness.
Okay.
So when it pertains to my podcast, I like to preach that to people, because I find that one limitation that people always disregard is themselves when it pertains to success. So I'm on my path of success, and it's interesting because I'm 27, but we'll see, because I feel like everyone wants to be successful in America, because we're always trying to see if we can afford everything. But the truth in America is that no one can afford anything here. It's even when you have $1 billion, you're trying to get to $1 trillion. It's always this top. You're never satisfied. Yeah. So I can say that's who I am.
Okay. And it's funny because something that I've realized over the last year or so, I rebranded from calling myself just a couple of times actually. Now that I think about it, it was CEO Haize, which is still my Twitter name, but I just call myself Haize now. But went from that to the Red Bearded Assassin, and then recently with my third year, the Content King is like what I focus on. And something that I found in doing this is like the name that you give yourself and the titles that you give yourself are highly important with how people view you, right? So when I was calling myself just the Red Bearded Assassin all the time, the conversations for people who didn't know me went immediately to my beard and like what beard care and XYZ and all that. But when I changed it to the Content King, now almost every conversation for the people who are just introduced to me and we have first conversations, it's about the content. Like people bring up content. What do you think about content? Now I'm finding myself having more conversations with that. So like, what do you agree with that? Like, do you think the titles that you give yourself are kind of the most important titles that you'll have? Because we identify ourselves through so much, but like, I really feel like you got to pick your titles and what you call yourself, because that's going to ultimately decide what people's first introduction is to you.
Absolutely. I find that when it pertains to names, specifically content creator's name, it's your whole brand. When people look at it, they determine if they want to click on it or not. Sometimes there are people where they don't want it to be too generic. Like, for example, I know that a lot of people, they probably do like the bad such and such or this and such and such. And, like everyone rolls their eyes. But I find that when it pertains to podcasts and content and branding, something has to be distinctful. Not so much for like people trying to recognize you, but also for the CEO optimization, because you don't want to type your name on Google and it's like 55 other people with this name. And here you are paying for a website, paying for this, and you have no clicks. So when I created Not Perfect, Just Broke, even though it was random, I knew that it can represent me and it wouldn't be something in which I would have to change or alter. People just got it as soon as they saw the phrase.
Definitely. And that's it's one of those names too that Not Perfect, Just Broke. It's catchy and it just sticks out. Like you know who the hell people are talking about, and immediately goes like, all right, what Vivi's cooking up now?
It is so funny because even till this day, when people say Not Perfect, Just Broke, or I say it, it's like I can't help it but laugh, because I'm just like, it makes sense. It's not something in which it's complex, where it's like Diamond Diva or something like that, where you're just like, can you please explain it to me? It's like Not Perfect, Just Broke. The bitch is struggling. That's it.
Was it difficult for you to talk about your struggles when you first got into this?
No, it's actually quite easy. I think the hardest part was just me making sure that I always focused on the point, because whenever I listen to YouTubers and podcasters, I saw that there was one issue. That's why I always advise people when it pertains to podcasting, definitely research, because when I was listening to people, it would be 50 to 60 minutes and the person wouldn't get to the topic until like the 40th minute. So I'm just sitting over here like, you're supposed to be talking about rice. Why are we talking about ragu all the time? So because I saw those things, I was like, I want to make sure that I'm giving a certain emotion, but I'm getting to the point. There should be no reason to why someone's sitting down and falling asleep and they still haven't gotten to the topic. And I also think about just making certain points as I'm speaking, like, what am I talking about? How can this be applied in someone's life? Conclude it. Because I feel like there are people where it's like they just talk about the same topic, like the alpha thing. It's like every single episode, alpha, sex, and all that stuff. It's like you have to get to a point so you can go to the next subject.
Listen, I've so long, and like people ask you to listen to their podcast. It's been some rough shit that I've heard. Like, I'm talking about podcasts where the topic, the name of the title of the episode didn't come into the last 15 minutes, and the podcast was an hour and a half long. It's just like, what are you doing here? What's the point? What are you doing here? But we're here to talk about you. Let's not. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, because I can talk about that shit all day.
Oh man, I'm ready. Have you ever listened to podcasts with the smoke detector on and they babies crying?
Oh my Jesus! Listen here, that smoke detector is. Oh my God! Like, I'll turn it off.
People could live their life with the smoke detector. I almost beat my television up because every time they had this song, it had a beep, and I was like, "Oh hell no!" And I turned it off, and it stopped. But I was ready to put some Duracell on this bitches, man. I was ready to jump on my bed. I don't play with those sounds.
Man, listen.
When
And
I turn off my technology, everything better shut the fuck up, okay?
Exactly.
I better not hear no lingering sounds.
And I'm one of those people too where I like sleeping in the complete quiet, as quiet as I can get it. I don't like ambient. My daughter needs ambient noise, but me, I'm fine in the complete silence. Like, man, listen. And I'm soundproof, as you can tell, like hell down here to try to stop that. My son, when I first started podcast, I know there were a few episodes where he was in the background, and I was just like, look, I can't keep doing this. I don't see how people are like 3 and 4 years into this and they still sound like they're recording on speakerphones. Like what's happening? Like that's
to each is their own, man. But if they're making money off of it, then they must be doing a good job.
That's true. That's true if they're making money off of it. And there are a lot in this game who are making some money. And, you know, hats off to them. That's not nothing to sleep on at all because it's hard. It's as someone who like has gotten almost, well, I'm a little into that realm. It takes a lot of work, a lot of connections, a lot of reaching out. The ones who like the people who have stuff that just comes to them, that they're on a whole different level. I praise those people because everything that I've had to go after and get. So
I need those people to kind of rub that manifestation on me because it's difficult going out to people because it's like majority don't even answer.
That's crazy. Especially considering where you are. Like I would just expect that it would have been a little bit like I'm in fucking Columbus, Ohio. Like let's just be real. While Columbus is a major city, it's the 13th largest city in the country. It's not like being in a city like New York or Los Angeles or you know Atlanta or something like that where the connections are bound. Like every connection or sponsor I have isn't based in this city at all. So like I really have to go after it. It's I just can't imagine. I can't even imagine. It's sending emails sucks and then when you don't get a response.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, it's not so much not getting like offers on sponsorships. It's just genuinely getting a sponsorship in which someone's going to pay you for you doing something. A lot of times I get offered affiliate codes, affiliate management, or sponsorships or ambassadorships in which I have to change my whole shtick to do it. And it's like, I'm not into that. It's not what I want. And then secondly, there's this colorism thing. We can get deep into it, but I'll make it short. But when it pertains to Black women, due to the fact in media and just sometimes in the community, we're portrayed as very sexual. A lot of times when they see me and they see my content, it's just like, can you do a little bit of this? Can you kind of do the dynamite type of thing? And it's like, I don't want to do that. Yeah, and I'm like, can I speak about the millennial perspective and stuff? And they're just like, it's a little bit too broad. And like I said on Twitter, I had one company tell me, if possible, I can have a counterpart, a host who was not Black to balance everything out. Wow. They said that I'm missing someone else. And I was just like, isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Like I know podcasters full of girls drinking wine, barely could like utter a sentence, getting money, just drinking wine. And you telling me I have to get someone and probably have to pay for them and then deal with, you know, renting studios and stuff for the sake of a sponsorship. So there's this weird thing. And of course, I'm not going to name any podcasters, but you'll see the ones where they're very popular because they're heavily sexual. Or they're contracted with the company, which means that they can't do any other contracts with anyone else. Like with BuzzFeed, once you're contracted to BuzzFeed, you can't do anything else but BuzzFeed. That's why you'll see a lot of content creators leave those areas. So it's difficult. It's a lot of politics in there. And I don't want to be stuck once I say yes.
And that's one thing that I haven't talked about it a lot. There has been some things that I've said no to only because it's like, well, do you have to be so hard on the white, like the episode that I did not too long ago where I talked about like white people wanting to be allies versus just wanting to be seen as allies. Like there was a pretty nice size sponsorship opportunity that I had that if I would have took that, they would have immediately left me for that. They wanted me to basically water everything down on talking about anything with white people. And I was like, look, fuck that. You good. I don't need that check. I'll be good. There's another one that I had that I don't mention God a lot, but I do. I mean, I'm a former deacon, so I do talk about God periodically. They didn't want me to talk about God. I'm like, listen, I don't even talk about them every
Ooh.
episode, but when God does
Yeah.
something in my life, I'm damn sure going to talk about it. So no, you can bounce too. I ain't got time for that. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Do you ever find, like, because of the sexualization of women, and you're very you, like, you'll post videos of you dancing and just being silly, and it's all joy, like it's nothing but joy. Do you ever hesitate to post that because you don't want people to then start sexualizing you and just focus on that? Like, I always wonder, like, how does that, do women think about that, or like worry, should that be, or is that a concern that they have? Not, is it should, because it definitely shouldn't be. Post whatever the hell you want, but unfortunately we live in a world where people try to box you in the first chance that they get. Has that ever been a concern for you?
Of course, definitely a concern. Whenever I post something, I always think about, like, okay, how will I look at this months away? What happens if someone saves this video? What happens if my job sees this? What happens? So I usually can, get away with, the dramatic face, the whining and hiding my face and gyrating. But yeah, I sometimes think about it, but I always try to just not be naked.
Yeah.
Not twerk, not to do anything crazy. Because at the end of the day, I need my bills paid. And I'm sorry, but likes don't really get to me like other people. Like, there are people where it's like they'll show a titty and they'll be like, if I receive 500 likes from me showing the left titty, I'm going to show the right titty. And I'm just like, girl, this is too much. It is 8 a.m. on Friday. So I kind of take Twitter like very lightly, kind of like PG-13, never rated R. Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know. I mean, people may think like I'm horrible, but whenever I see Black women kind of like over-sexualizing themselves, I'm just like, I hope you remember this the next time you try to say something serious on your timeline. Because I'll see people doing some craziness, had like some cucumber and whipped cream, deep-throated, and they be talking about, I don't understand how come men don't take me seriously.
You know what? I'm glad that a woman's saying that, because that's one of the things that I say, and people just, because it's crazy, because it's like, okay, first of all, I get having fun. Like, don't get me wrong. I get having fun. I get doing whatever you want to do. Like, but at the same time, when you're in a place of like being a creative or using your social media for any type of actual revenue, it's like, all right, you got to be more mindful. And it's like, when you wonder why people don't take you seriously, and the same thing for dudes. Dudes do some stupid shit for clout on social media, and I just be looking like, listen here.
Talk about eating the booty every day, and they talk about how come people don't support me. First of all, you a photographer. We ain't seen no goddamn pictures. All we keep on seeing is repost the post in OnlyFans. We don't even know who you are, sir. Yeah, it's things like that. But that's like another subject for another day. But there's definitely been some content creators, unfortunately, I've had to unfollow because they would never post their content, or they would just be like hyper focus on one aspect. Like, for example, like insulting women 24/7, insulting men 24/7. And I'm just like, your energy sucks, bro.
Yeah. I had to disengage. There was a lot. I went through a mass unfollowing period because it's just like my timeline was just, it was Trump craziness, people showing their body, dudes talking about, like you say, eating ass, or girl, if you man, like all that pick me shit. I ain't got time for that. Like, it's just, you got to clean up your timeline every once in a while. I look at it as like fall, spring cleaning your house. You just got to expunge some shit from time to time, man.
Absolutely, because it'll definitely like affect your energy. Like, I realize that like there are people who just do not want to have a good life, or who do not want to spread good energy. And sometimes when I see like habitual posters like that, where it's like, oh, why she look like that? Or, you know what I hate? I'm just like, I don't want you here. Because your mindset, this is what you always do.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
There you go. Let's get back on you. What since you've become a creative, what's it taught you about yourself?
Well, I've been a creative for a while. I used to have a blog called Breaking Denim Brushes, where I used to do like hair care, and I used to do like marketing projects with hair companies, and I did a commercial for Essence. Now, what the hell was the question? I got dementia.
What has being a creative taught you about yourself?
I'm gonna be honest with you. It hasn't taught me shit. I can say probably a little bit. It taught me how strategic I am.
Okay.
But when it pertains to teaching, no, because I feel like if you know anything about the street life, you'll do well in content creation. And I'm going to explain. The reason why is because you will have to deal with a lot of politics with people, not only dealing with business, but dealing with people. Like every day I look at my DMs, there's always some content creator trying to ask me for something, trying to do something crazy. Or like there are people where it's like, oh, I need you to speak about this. I need you to speak about this. And it's like, I have to learn as a content creator to be like, okay, I'm not going to answer to you. I have to answer to you. Because the thing is, there are people that think that because they support your content, you're supposed to be a slave to them. Mm-hmm. So that's something I had to learn as content creation. Instead of me saying yes to everyone, there's times where I'm just like, all right, fuck you. I don't blatantly say fuck you, but I'm just like, okay, you always do this weird thing, and I'm just going to push you away. Mm-hmm. Because it's weird. And I'm sorry, I'm going to have to bring in gender. I feel like with women, it's that sexualization. So I'll find a lot of people like listen to my podcast or find out about my podcast, and this is them to the DMs. Hey, I listened to your podcast. Let me get your number. I like your topics. And it's just like, now you're guilting me or you're gaslighting me to feel like I'm obligated to respond to you when I know damn right you just want to fuck me. So it's little stuff in that, but I feel like it hasn't taught me when it pertains to life, content creation.
That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, we're not even going to talk about other creatives in the DMs because that's why I'm so hesitant now. Like I think I interacted with you on social media for a good few months before I ever DM'd you on a personal conversation and then invited you on this podcast because I'm a man. I could only imagine what it's like for women. But some of these podcast chicks, some of these YouTuber chicks, some of the stuff that comes in the DMs, I'm just looking like, we're basically coworkers. That's how I look at it. Like, we're all creatives. We're basically coworkers to a degree. There should be no reason why the very first thing you send me in the DM is your ass. Like, I don't need that. Can we talk about content? Like, can we?
Wait, so she just showed it to you bare skin? Oh my gosh, she didn't even shoot the shot. She grabbed the rim.
So I remember I'm not gonna mention any names, right? And this is all other creators. These aren't just listeners. When I came out with my first T-shirt, I said, send me pics of you in your Awakened Soul gear. I'm gonna post it on my social media or whatever. Another creative who we both know sent me a video of her masturbating in my shirt. And it was just like, that was the very first time we had ever interacted. Like, well, except like retweets on the timeline. But I mean, as far as like in the DMs, no, hey, I bought your shirt. I didn't even know, because all my merch sales are all done automatically. It's like mailed out automatically. I didn't even know she ordered the damn shirt. So when I saw I got a DM from her and a picture, I had been getting so many of them because it was my merch launch. I was like, oh, let me go in and check this one. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't want to make it about me, though. This is about you. This is your creative mind. But
I'm going to be honest with you. I was a little bit slightly turned on by that. I'm sorry. like if a finance person is masturbating to the thing that they kind of supported me and they fine, I want to do like a 2 sale, 2 for 1 or buy one, get one free. Like, you little freak. I don't know. That was a little bit sexy. Like, I buy your shit and now I'm...
Don't get me wrong. I'm not good. Listen, and people got to understand, like, as much as like I'm confident at times, and like people got to realize, like, I'm completely an introvert. Like, that's what podcasting taught me about myself, how to come out of being an introvert. In my regular life, I was completely introverted. So all this attention is fairly new to me. So when it comes to something like that, it just really be like, what's the standard operating procedures here? Like, what do I do? I'll be so caught up.
You supposed to like it? Say thank you.
Thanks. Did you want me to repost this? Like, what do I say?
Damn. Like, how do you speak to a person like that after? Like, that's very...
I don't even know. I don't know. But This is about you and your DMs. We got to get off Haize. I'm getting red now thinking about it. I'm good. Oh, my life, man. I don't even know how to proceed here. What I don't even know where to go. Where was I at?
Why am I picturing like a woman with the Content King shirt, like in fetal position, just drilling her shit? Yeah, I'm visual.
No, we got to be good on that.
Barbershop. Oh, Jesus.
Oh man, life is crazy. Yeah, people definitely. I feel like you kind of answered this. But now that you've added another dimension, because I didn't know like you had done blogs and stuff before. But why do you create? What do you either get out? What do you put out? What ultimately do you want to come from whatever you create and put your hands into?
I want to make money off of this shit.
Okay.
This job, this 9-to-5 shit is ghetto as fuck. So if I can find a replacement or just like that extra for me to do part-time, that would be amazing. Now, the thing is, I do like the creative process of things because I've just been naturally like a strategic, analytical person. Like even with like decor, writing, I wrote for Huffington Post, I wrote for LinkedIn. So it's like things like that. It's like, I think in formulas, so there's some type of satisfaction. Like I know that there are people who like to play games. It's similar to that. It's something about that creative process and visualizing things and being technical where it's like, okay, I want this to happen. So for me to get this, I'm going to have to download this software, change the frame rates and do all those things. I like that. Okay, now, does my budget like that? I don't think so. But I like that.
Talk about budgets. I'm not even going to talk.
The budget is in the red, like the background of your studio. Okay.
Man, hey, sometimes you got to be in the red for a little while. You can't even
say shit because you sitting over here, Bill Gates spending all this shit. I swear you got a sugar mama in freaking Panamania something. Because you just be like, yeah, I spent like $12,000 in Amazon. You know, it was cute. It was cute. I spent $12 in Amazon and I'm sitting over here fighting over them so I can get my shipping back.
It's so for me, it's all, so everything that I get, every bit of money that I've generated from this, I've done live shows, everything is all gone back into this because not only now do I podcast, but I also do photography and videography for other people. I just got a new job doing videos and editing for someone, and that contract's a year long. That's an extra $1,200 a month. That's going to probably end up going back into the business. So like, I've been blessed in the fact that I started making money in this podcasting game very early on from advertisers of local businesses. Local Black owned businesses were not giving me, but they were paying to advertise on my podcast early on. So I was taking that money, I was building it up. I took that's when I bought my first camera. When I bought that first camera, I started doing photography. I did a couple of photography jobs, saved up money, bought an even more expensive camera. And then, so it just kind of built out from there. But yeah, that like easily, it's like $20,000 almost and all this shit. And it's ridiculous.
My God. Oh, give me gas just thinking about that 20 G's.
Man, listen,
are you like 100% like entrepreneur?
I was. So here's my story is right at the beginning of 2020, matter of fact, my Emancipation Day, which is what I called it when I was able to work completely for myself, was January 5th of 2020. I was rocking out for 3 months hard, living still good like I did when I had a corporate job. Then COVID hit. So all of my freelance shit stopped. And so at that point, I went back into corporate America. That's what I'm at now. And now starting to build back up. But we're having another rise in COVID too. So I don't know. So like my goal is by the end of 2022 to be 100% back entrepreneur full-time, doing my own thing. I have so many different lanes that I like. That's one of the ways I started making money early too, is that I did invest in studio quality audio gear very early on. So then I would and it's all mobile. I would go to other podcasters and other creators, be like, hey, don't pay that studio $100 an hour for studio time. I'll do it for $60. I'll come with my equipment, record your stuff, and I'll edit it. And then it just slowly built out from there. So I started monetizing very early on in different ways, not the traditional way. And so, yeah.
That's amazing.
I appreciate that. Listen, there's so much goddamn money in this place. Like sometimes I just think, because I used to be a sneakerhead before this, so I look at everything in sneakers, and I was like, you know how many sneakers I could have for all this damn equipment?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but you'll be able to purchase more sneakers as you have like the advertisers and Disney and all those other places. That'll be good.
Yeah. It'll come. And I look at everything as like building a legacy for my kids. Funny story, and then we'll get back into you, but funny story, I remember when I first like stopped working and I was home all the time, well, at least when my kids were home, because I worked my schedule around so I could be home when I had them. And my daughter looked at me dead in my face and she was like, Daddy, what do you do for a living now? And I kind of explained to her. And then my younger daughter looked at me. She turned around. She was like, I honestly thought you sold drugs.
Listen, is the room that you're in like the room that they're not allowed to be in?
Yeah, they're not allowed down here.
Probably that's what they assume. Soundproof, dark room.
Yeah, I let them down here. Before it got to this place, they were down here. I let them come down here and watch TV one time. They just wanted to be in the basement away from everything. I was like, all right, go ahead and go down there. And when I came down here, my daughter was like, the younger one was holding the mic, singing like this. I was like, all right, that's it. No more. We're done. So, yeah, I was like, y'all got to stop.
Yeah.
But back into you. We're talking about me too much on this. Back into you.
It's your
so
show.
We're in I know, but they get my thoughts all the time. So what, if anything, has the pandemic taught you, or how has it affected your creativity? I think, for example, a lot of people who used to go to studios are now learning to do it on their own. I know you've learned how to do it on your own, so to say, but that's just an example. Has it affected your creativity in any way this year that we've been going through?
I can say it probably has. Because before I ended season 2, I was going to end it speaking about like harsh topics such as like single parenting, like serious issues. And then once this came, it was like, wow, like people are losing their lives. This is probably a horrible time to talk about things like this, because there are people who may have been single parenting and it's not their choice. It may be to a situation. So because of that, I was like looking at like the climate of everything. Now with the pandemic and the content creation, I can say that politics again. This is now we're talking about the government aspect, where it definitely was just like, what the fuck? And the thing is, I work for federal government, so I can speak on this shit lightly, but my God, it is not organized at all. So they messed with the people, they messed with the employees, they messed everything up. So because of that, as a content creator, I ended last season on capitalism. I was just like, okay, I need to make sure for season 3, I get to the point. And then whenever people listen to me, there's some type of humor in it. There's some type of satisfaction. Because right now, we're like in a heavy environment. Nobody wants to cry when they're listening to someone. No one wants to see someone die. No one wants to hear people suffering. We're at the point where it's kind of like, I wouldn't say like the toddler, but it's kind of like the baby, where it's like you don't want to scare the baby, but you don't want to coddle the baby too much. It's just kind of like everything's going to be okay. Like I feel like I have to do that as a content creator. Because me as a person, I can't watch the news anymore. Before I used to watch the news in the morning for like 20, 30 minutes, have it in the background. I can't watch that shit.
Yeah.
Because it's either so much dying, there's so much fear mongering and stuff. So definitely with the pandemic taught me how emotions can affect people outside of the podcast. Like, you say certain things and you're kind of like, whatever, but someone may hear that and just be like, shit. Like joking about jobs. I don't think I can joke about fucking jobs anymore. Because there are people who were getting paid more than me and less than me. They don't have anything now.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a great perspective to have. It was so interesting. Like I was one of those creators who I haven't taken a break like during the pandemic. I honestly, looking back, I wish I would have. So just a little backstory. My family, over the last 3 years, I've lost over 10 members of my family from death, cancer mostly. That was before like the pandemic. I haven't luckily lost anybody from COVID. So like death has just been this thing that's been overarching in my family for so long. And then to constantly see it on the news when the pandemic and everything was getting worse, I'm not gonna lie, there was a point in which like I had to block. I didn't look at the news. I was barely on Twitter for a couple of months this year because I just got overwhelmed with death. And that was probably one of the first times that I could honestly say that emotionally I had to check out completely. And luckily I was able to come back. My mom came and visit one weekend and me and her were just talking, and it kind of helped me snap out of it. But it was just at that point where it was like the death on the news, the death in my family, the anniversary of my brother's death, like everything was all around the same time. And it was just like, look, looking back, I don't know how I didn't snap. The fact that I'm still sane ain't nothing but the grace of God, because my ass was just on the precipice of being in somebody's crazy house. I can honestly admit that. It was crazy. So.
Yeah. I can say like April was definitely hard for me, to the point where last year, I kind of ended things with my therapist because I was just like, everything's cool, everything's fine, because it became repetitive where I was just chilling there and like we were just not complaining. It was just like, oh, you good, I'm good. 45 minutes, I pay you.
Yeah.
Then this pandemic shit happened and I thought I was all right. And then I was dealing with that cabin fever where you just feel like real heavy because you're not going outside. There's no movement. You're not going to work. You're just staying home. And it was to the point where going outside was considered dangerous. So those times with just even taking out the garbage, you sitting over here, you scared because we didn't have the mask implemented. So during that time, I contacted my therapist and I was like, okay, we need to start this again because I'm not feeling comfortable, and I'm feeling in a way that I'm going to, in which I have made sure that I will not feel that way.
Definitely.
Now I'm going to ask you a blunt question.
Okay.
Have you considered therapy, or do you do any form of therapy?
Oh no, I'm a big advocate for therapy. I've been in therapy now consistently for the last 4 months. After my divorce, I was in therapy consistently for 18 months straight. And then I kind of took a break because I got back good. But no, I'm one of my therapist knows. I'll send a text like, we need to get back. Is my spot still available? I need you for a couple of weeks. So no, I'm a real big advocate for therapy. Because I kind of talked about a couple episodes ago, but there was a place in my life where I wasn't suicidal. Wouldn't say that I was ever suicidal, but if I would have died, I wouldn't have minded. So does that make sense? Like, so once I got to that dark place, it was like, I embraced therapy with open arms, and and my dad isn't, my dad's white. He's not even black. So like this whole concept of like black men don't like therapy, it's just men in general. Because I remember when I told him I was going to therapy, he was like, why do you need therapy? Just come down here, we'll get a couple of beers, you'll be all right. Dad, it doesn't work that way. So I love therapy.
No, that's good. And I can say, when it pertains to self-awareness, it was very important for me to get back to therapy because I was just seeing people lose themselves during this. Like I was seeing people close to me where they didn't go out. They were extroverts and they didn't go out. So that now it's like they're miserable and you're starting to see like they're looking weird and they're saying something. So it's like I had to make sure that I was okay. And I can say that with September was such a important time of my life because due to the fact of the pandemic and also with therapy, I asked myself, what is something that I can change that just the pandemic, no matter what happens, I can be like, okay, at least I did this during the pandemic. And it was me removing myself from my family. And by doing that, it kind of like helped me deal with a lot of things. Because man, oh man, going through the pandemic, staying with family, dealing with control, then you're dealing with working from home, and then now you're trying to record a podcast. Oh, fuck out of here. I couldn't record a podcast. So that was another reason.
Yeah.
As I'm recording a podcast, this is my mom. Vivi, who you talking to? It's 11 p.m. Who you talking like that? And it's like my mom would just be banging on the door like, yo, who are you talking to like that? And I'm just like, I'm podcasting. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then here she is singing Bible songs in the background. So like all those things were out of my control. So it was making me reactive. So I can say that the pandemic definitely benefited me because it gave me time for me to move out of my parents' house and develop myself, that I'm able to content create and I'm able to do work from home effectively.
That's awesome. It's nothing like having your own space. Like it's a beautiful, peaceful thing to just come home and stuff is the exact way that you left it. And you're in a space that you created. It can look however you want it to look. It's just, listen, that's what the studio has become for me, because the kids basically almost run the top floor, and then the living room always stays clean. That's the common area. And then this studio for me is like the man cave / studio. This is just there's times where I just come down here and I sit, turn on the TV, and just let the day wash away. And then I'm able to go ahead and go forward and be productive. So.
No, that's an amazing thing, because when I moved out, it's interesting because I feel like fear is subjective. If someone wants you to think it's something, it will be something. So my family made it seem as if once I move out without a husband, it was just like, it's going to be destructive. People are going to be grabbing your ass. Like everything's just going to be horrible. I moved out. This shit was peaceful as hell. It's quiet. Like I really was like expecting some like, I used to hold my taser when I took out the garbage because I was just like, yo, some bullshit is going to happen. I'm going to take out my garbage and someone's just going to be like this to me. When I moved out, I slept better. When I moved out, I'm able to meditate. I'm able to work out. I don't have to feel like, oh, let me get this small space in the refrigerator for food and things like that. I have my voice. And also the important part of me moving out of my family, I'm 27. And the thing is, unfortunately, because of my family, they don't see me as 27. They see me as 10. So I can't like hide under the, you know, like mommy, da da da, or my mom saying like I'm baby girl and being dismissive. I can actually be my age and do things for me. Yeah. So it's very nice. And it's crazy because once my family like saw the place, they were just like, oh shit. It was like, oh, this shit nice. And I was like, it's very peaceful. Yeah, because they really thought like once I moved out, I was just going to move to some like rinky dinky place. It was like, no, I'm going to move to a place that's established, that's safe for me. But I need this for myself because I'm going to be honest with you. I ain't going to get no dick in my mom's house. So it's just nice having this peace. Yeah, and the thing is, I can't really date like in that surrounding because I don't want to date with someone. I don't want to date someone with that surrounding where it's like they dealing with the mama's boys and stuff like that. Cause I dealt with that. So I was just like, ugh. And then generational curses. I wanted to make sure that I didn't put myself in a situation where I said that I would change and I wouldn't change, but I'm just doing this fairy tale mentality. I had to take initiative. Yeah. Dope. So that's how it's going.
Look at you. You out here killing it in 2020. You I'm not even gonna ask that. Never mind. I don't know if we have that relationship. I ain't gonna ask that.
Do it.
You say you can't get no dick in your mama's house? Have you broken the new place yet? Have you gotten to break it in?
No, I ain't gonna break into this place, man. It's different when like you say it in like your mom's house and stuff, but then when you have your place, it'd be like almost like killed someone because they came in to do handyman work and he refused to put like my plastic shower cap shoes on. And I was just like, yo, I'll throw you off this fucking balcony, nigga. Like, excuse my language. So I don't know if I can really be with someone and then for them to lay or like them eat like some crackers and a cracker drop on my good rug. You know, like it's different when you paid for everything.
Everything. Yeah.
So it's like if they drop the remote, I may be triggered. You know? Like what the fuck? You dropped the remote, nigga. Like this is my shit. Get the fuck out of here. Like I feel
hell yeah. That's just crazy.
I definitely feel like I would be that person that would just kick out people because I have a place. Like just
because it's yours. You gonna be doing that Martin shit?
You drink all my milk. Get the fuck out of here then.
I I got one last question for you. We'll see where this goes. Because this is something I just found out about you a couple days ago because you put it on the timeline. I don't know if you know this about me. I was a psychology major. And I found out you were a behavioral psychology major. So, like, what does that do for you?
I'm not a behavioral psychology major.
I thought you said you were.
I ain't saying major. I said I took class.
Oh, class. Okay. Words mean things. I apologize for that. But having that class, does it ever cause you to look at some of this shit on the timeline? And like, because I know for me, like I try not to do it. I psychoanalyze people, and I'll be like, see, this is actually what's going on here, and I try not to do it. But it's just like I see some shit, and I'll be like, look, I'll be wanting to tell them. I want to send them like pictures from articles and be like, look, this will help you, but I'm gonna stay in my lane. Do you ever have that time of wanting to do that sometimes?
Of course.
Yeah.
I think I always analyze individuals. But the thing is, when it pertains to like behavioral psychology and just psychology in general, it's human nature for you to judge people. It's human nature for you to observe people. You know, whenever you go on the timeline, sometimes there are people that try to psychoanalyze people and just be like, you need mental help. You bipolar, you narcissist and stuff like that. But I really don't say it out loud. But when I see things such as like dating or like habits, it's like I can basically figure the person out. Like, for example, whenever I see a man that's just like hyper into like, you know, fuck this chick, fuck this person, like it's just always this downing thing. I can tell that he's been through, or there's higher chances he's been through some type of trauma or some type of person who broke their heart. So now they have this ongoing theme of just like, fuck this person, fuck this. And it's just like, oh, okay. Yeah.
That's fair.
But I think
that's fair.
The best part of like psychology, it's taught me to be nonchalant in things. Definitely. Because I just think it's like wrong for me to be like judging people like, you're crazy, you're stuff like this. And nah, I feel like one thing with psychology is that you can think that the person is something, but you don't have to say that. Like, I'm sure people probably be like, this bitch is just weird. But I hope they never tell me that. But there are people who do tell me that.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being weird. I embrace being weird. I'm weird as fuck. I ain't even gonna lie. I embrace it. It is what it is. So I take it as a compliment.
Gets me the D. Weird increases the DM. So I'm just kind of like, whatever. Like the same people that be like, oh my God, you so weird. That's crazy. Let me just see what you doing tonight so I can see how crazy you can get. Like, I don't pay mine. That's how it really is in social media. The people that be insulting you be the people where it's like, yeah, so you saw that? Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. It's so crazy because it's like it goes back to like elementary school when like boys were mean to girls that they liked and vice versa. That's exactly what it goes back to. And it's like, how much do we really change? Like you think about, it's just the way that we go about it changes some, but we like, it's still the same tactics, the same shit. So yeah, you better.
Here you are getting barbershops.
Barbershops. Oh man.
Just listen, you just try to understand. Is it my microphone? Is it my headphone? Oh. Like, did she put a light down there? I'm so sorry, but
no, it was well lit. She didn't need a light down there. But did you follow me during the Haize Hive days? I don't
know, because there was a time where I followed you and I unfollowed you because you didn't follow me back. And that was like the time that I started my podcast.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What?
And I was like trying to talk to you and you got like bougie on me. You didn't say anything. And I was like, what the fuck?
I didn't respond to you. That blows my mind. I can't. Wow. I apologize for that. That's crazy.
That Haize and Awakened Soul Pod was the same person. Because like when I clicked on it and I saw you, I was just like, oh my God, he's so cute. Let me add him. And it was just like nothing. And I said something, it was like nothing. And then CEO Haize added me, and I was just like, oh, he's nice. And I saw the Awakened Soul part, and I was like, this is the same motherfucker who ignored me. And I was like, oh, it's okay.
Oh, that makes sense. So it still happens. I post my clips and my promo on the Awakened Soul, and then I almost don't check the page again. So like that makes sense. Now if it was coming from my personal page, that would have really surprised me. But like the Awakened, and I need to get better on that. But like the Awakened Soul page, I literally post and go, because most people, even when I post on the Awakened Soul, if they respond to something, they tag me from the CEO Haize page, and I get to respond to it from there. So I'm just bad. I'm bad with the Awakened Soul page. It sucks. I'm really bad with that. Yeah,
it happens.
I'm sorry. You know I love you, Vivi. You know this.
You don't know me. Don't cap.
Come on now.
Don't cap with this bullshit. You don't fucking know me. Don't say you love me like a white girl. You don't fucking know me.
Get the hell out of here. You know I support you. Get the hell out of here. The way you and Dan give me shit on Twitter. Listen, that day you posted that screenshot saying that I can see the texture of your edges in your video, you don't understand. I was in this chair dying laughing. I think I was trying to edit a video or something. I could not do it for like 20 minutes. I kept going back, and to this day, if I go back and look at that tweet, it still makes me laugh. I'm like, she got my ass on that one.
No, it's true. You definitely have some HD quality. I'm sure that once you try to edit this quality on my side, it's probably going to be VHS, but that's fine.
Nah, you good. I recently learned how to do some enhancements on regular HD to 4K, but we're not going to talk about that because the people will hit me up trying to get me to do that for their shit. It's not going to happen. Still learning the tricks of the trade. But damn, I'm sorry. My bad. I never would. I'm sorry if I ever ignored you. You know you my people. You and Dan are two of the people I like interacting the most with on Twitter. And Hear Me Out has quickly gotten up there with you guys. I love interacting with you people because y'all crazy. Y'all, and Dan is... Oh, that is my guy. But he is so all over the place. Like, man, he just got me earlier today, too, with that damn beard glue people were posting about. I'm like, Dan, you asshole, bro. You an asshole, man.
Dan is funny.
Yeah, Dan's good people, man. He's really good people. Well, Vivi, I've had you for a while. I want to thank you for your time, for your laughs, for that smile. I'm sure you're going to get some DMs after being on this video. I'm sure of it. Screenshot them for me. But before we go, something I've been asking all the creatives that come on is for any other creatives or potential creatives that are listening to this, give them one tip from you before we go.
Be confident about your content. Definitely research the best ways to post it. And just also understand that the things that you're posting might be forever. So just be mindful of that. Be mindful of the NDAs or the confidential agreements within your job. Sometimes they can conflict with that. So do not put yourself in a position where you're posting content and you may lose your job. That is something that I'm very adamant about. A lot of things that I speak about on Not Perfect, Just Broke, I'm able to contest it and say that like this had nothing to do with the job. This is just my personality and this is outside of my work. There are people where they may not be able to do that and they may be liable. So just think about the personal life outside of that, because you don't want to be that person where as soon as they Google your name, they see the pictures and the optimization, it's going to mess you up. So always think about long term when it pertains to your content. Can you actually listen to that content 5 years? Or is this, you're talking about entanglement? Like, no, don't be like that person. You know?
Great words from a great woman. Vivi, let me make sure I say your full name. You my people. I really rock with you on a real level, even more after today and seeing your craziness. I need you to give some people some skincare tips after this too one day, because your skin always looks flawless.
Capping.
Nah, come on now. You listen. Some of the skin we see on the timeline, that's all I'm gonna say, because I know you've seen it. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I mean, if you want to end your show on that note, then you can do that.
Go ahead
we
and give them.
End it like a PBS special.
Like a PBS? Nah, fuck all that. No, we ain't gonna do that. It's bad enough we got Disney Plus at the beginning. Go ahead and give them your social media, and then let's get the hell up out of here.
So my social media is Not Perfect Just Broke on Instagram, Not Perfect Just Be on Twitter, and Not Perfect Just Broke podcast on Facebook.
And if you happen to search her profile for any feet pics, I've already searched. I haven't found any yet. So if you find some, please let me know.
I ain't gonna be posting no feet pics. I'm sorry, you kind of scared me. You seem like you got some high standards. You know, I was about to send you like a feet picture on like the DM because I wanted you to like critique my feet. Like, is my feet fuckable or is it like not fuckable?
Well, why didn't you?
Can it be changed and stuff? Because I didn't want you to like insult me. Like, I feel like you that type of person that's going to look and you may not say nothing, but you may say it on like your podcast and be like, you know, this one content creator sent me some feet pictures and I was looking at it and I almost threw up. You ain't gonna get me like that.
I would never do you like that. Let's go ahead and send them. You guys know where to follow me. You can follow me at CEO Haize. You can follow the podcast at Awaken So Pod or at The Awaken So Pod, just depending on where you're looking for us at. You can also send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, theawakensopod@gmail.com. We out this bitch. Peace.
Bye.
You crazy.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.